You know how some songs just stick in your head like a broken record, looping again and again? But this wasn't just a tune. It wasn't even something I remembered hearing before. I caught myself humming it late one night. A strange, lilting melody with no words. And the moment I sang it out loud, the house answered me back. It didn't start in my house. It began in the waiting room of a clinic. A place where silence was heavier than the ticking clock, where everyone stared at the floor to avoid being seen. A boy sat 2 chairs away from me. No phone, no restless shifting. Just his legs swinging idly, while his lips shaped a tune too soft to ignore. The melody felt crooked. A lullaby bent at the wrong angles, as though the notes were trying to crawl away from the song they belonged to. And behind him, on the wall, hung a mirror. One of those cheap rectangular ones, the kind meant for decoration rather than use. I could swear. The glass trembled each time his humming reached a certain pitch. No one else reacted. The receptionist typed. The nurse called names. The boy hummed. And then, I realized my reflection was humming too. My lips moved in perfect sync, but I hadn't opened my mouth. When I turned to confront the boy, his chair was empty. No footsteps, no door opening. Just the mirror, and my reflection still moving its mouth, even after I'd stopped. That was weeks ago, but the song never left. Every time I walk past a mirror now, I hear it, faintly, waiting for me to join in. It started small, like the song was following me in whispers. At first, I thought it was memory. A tune stuck in my head, like commercial jingles that refused to die. But it wasn't just in my head. The song slipped into the world around me. The hum of the refrigerator at night, the buzz of the fluorescent light in the bathroom, the low rumble of pipes in the wall, all bending, all weaving into the same crooked lullaby. The mirror in the hallway was the worst. If I walked by quickly, I could almost pretend it wasn't happening. But if I slowed down, if I let my eyes linger, my reflection's mouth began to move, matching the rhythm I heard. Even when I pressed my lips tight shut, even when I held my breath. And last night, I caught it smiling between verses, a smile I wasn't wearing. By the 3rd night, the song wasn't trapped in my apartment anymore. I heard it outside, faint at first. A single note carried on the wind, a rhythm stitched into the crickets' chirps. Then the neighbors. Through the thin walls, I caught fragments of the same melody slipping from televisions, hummed unconsciously between their arguments, whistled off-key as someone walked down the stairwell. No one seemed to notice, or maybe they couldn't. The worst was the radio. I left it unplugged. Still, at midnight, it clicked on by itself, and through the static came the tune, clearer than I had ever heard it. But it wasn't just music this time. Between the notes, a voice, low, stretched thin, sang words I could not fully catch. Except one. My name. And when I turned the dial to silence it, the reflection in the black glass kept on mouthing the words, as though the song didn't need sound anymore. I thought maybe it was just in my head, until I found the tape. Wedged behind a drawer I rarely opened, a thin cassette with no label, just a single word scrawled in faint pencil. Again, my hands shook as I pushed it into the old player. The reel stuttered, then the song began. The same melody I had been hearing everywhere. But this version was older. You could hear the hiss of decades, the muffled voices in the room where it was recorded. Children, maybe. They sang in unison, their voices uneven, as if they weren't learning a tune, but repeating something they had been told, something memorized long before language made sense. And then, beneath the chorus, I recognized it. My own voice, younger, clear, singing along with them. I dropped the player. The cassette kept spinning, and the room filled with the sound of myself, calling back from a time I couldn't remember, but that had never forgotten me. I tried to stop the tape. I pressed eject, rewind, even pulled the cord from the wall. But the song didn't stop. It kept moving through the room, seeping into the corners, curling along the ceiling like smoke. I covered my ears, but my mouth kept moving. I wasn't just hearing it anymore. I was singing. The melody pulled itself out of me, note by note, like my body was only an instrument, like I'd been hollow all along, waiting to be played. I stumbled to the mirror. My reflection's lips moved perfectly in sync, but its eyes, they weren't mine anymore. They shimmered with something patient, something endless, something that had been waiting for me to remember. The glass trembled. The reflection leaned closer, but I hadn't moved. And still, I kept singing. The song quieted, not because I stopped, but because something else picked it up. From the walls, from the pipes, from the air itself. It hummed, low and steady, like the building was breathing the melody back at me. I pressed my lips shut, but I could still feel the words forming at the back of my throat, like a second voice, waiting to take over when I faltered. The mirror didn't show me anymore. It showed a figure, still, expressionless, its mouth closed. But in the reflection, the song was louder than ever. I don't know if I'm still the one singing. I don't know if I ever was. So if you hear it, if the tune slips into your mind tonight, don't hum it, don't whisper it, and whatever you do, don't sing it out loud again.